Everything you need to know about murder hornets. The internet has been buzzing about these so-called murder hornets after a story broke out about an invasion of Asian giant hornets in Washington state, adding another threat to worry about to this already calamitous year. The description of the devastation these insects caused at a local beehive feels like something out of a novel. Thousands of bees laying dead with their heads ripped off and a whole colony decimated. It's conjured up such a storm that the state of Washington is enlisting people to find, report on, and kill these hornets. A dead one was first spotted in December on a beekeeper's front porch. More may be seen this spring and into the fall as the queen's hibernation ended in April. In case you're unfamiliar with these murder hornets, here's everything you need to know. Number 10. What are murder hornets? The Asian giant hornet, or the murder hornet, as you may have guessed from its name, is a hornet native to Asia. It's also the largest hornet in the world, with queens growing over 2 inches in length and workers growing up to about 1.5 inches in length. To put that into perspective, it's 5 times the size and 20 times the weight of a honeybee. Asian giant hornets also happen to be social insects and live in a nest with a queen and several workers. Number 2. Where did they get their name from? The name murder hornet has been coined by the media. It's not the common name used by entomologists, although if you read about the Asian giant hornet's behavior below, you can see why the media uses the name. Similar to other hornets, the Asian giant hornet is known as a predator to primarily arthropods. The Asian giant hornet actually removes the head from the thorax of its prey. Additionally, although hornets are known for hunting alone, the Asian giant hornet will group together for mass attacks on yellow jackets, honeybees, and paper wasp nests. These hornets are known for their violent predatory behavior towards other insects like honeybees and yellow jackets. In fact, these hornets can destroy an entire bee colony. A single Asian giant hornet can manage to kill as many as 40 honeybees per minute. But according to the USDA, the Asian giant hornet has a powerful sting that could be hazardous to human health. Although humans aren't typically the main target of an attack, these hornets are known to fiercely defend their nests. Therefore, it's still important to stay at least 10 feet away from a nest's entrance. Number 8. Perhaps they aren't as deadly as they seem. A researcher at Kyoto Sangyo University in Japan reported that the scientists nicknamed the insects murder hornets because they sometimes attack in groups, and the venom from multiple stings can be lethal enough to kill a human. But they don't usually target humans, unless they feel threatened. In other words, don't try to swat away at a giant hornet. And the hornet stinger is nearly 1/4 of an inch long and is big enough to rip through a beekeeper suit. Conrad Berube, a Canadian entomologist and beekeeper who was stung while eradicating a nest found on Vancouver Island, said that it was like having red-hot thumbtacks being driven into his flesh. The next day, he experienced flu-like aches in his legs. Number 7. When are they most active? Like many insects, Asian giant hornets follow specific behavioral cycles. After overwintering during the winter months, a queen Asian giant hornet will emerge in the springtime and begin to look for a suitable nesting site. In this pre-nesting stage, as she searches for a nesting place, she'll also feed and develop her ovaries. In the summer, the queen will first be solely in charge of the nest and taking care of the newly laid eggs. Once enough workers mature, the queen will become nest-bound. In the fall, the colony will begin to produce new queens and reproductive males. New queens will mate before they overwinter, and the cycle will begin again. Because Asian giant hornets become more active in the springtime after the overwintering period, the USDA and partners are trying to drive awareness about the importance of identifying and reporting Asian giant hornets. Number 6. They can kill entire bee colonies. This is the reason why the insects are referred to as murder hornets. Asian giant hornets feed themselves and their young by killing and eating other insects and regurgitating them back to their young. When Asian giant hornets find a honeybee nest, they can tear apart tens of thousands of them in mere hours with just a team of a few dozen, completely taking out a colony without an issue. This can be devastating to beekeepers and honey producers. To make matters worse, the honeybee population has been declining for years in the US due to habitat loss, disease, and pesticides. Number 5. People actually eat these things. Of course, you could always decide to take murder hornets and make murder hornet lemonade. In this case, we could take after Japan and eat them. That's right. The New York Times reports that the more adventurous palates in the land of the rising sun enjoy them as a pleasant snack and as a stimulating ingredient in drinks. Young or old, there's a murder wasp flavor for everybody. Some enjoy the grubs, preserved in jars, pan-fried, or steamed with rice to make a savory dish called hibo gohan. Others like to face their fears head-on, enjoying fried or skewered adult hornets, even the stinger. Supposedly, they leave a warm, tingling sensation when eaten, but that just may be the pleasant, calming feeling of slipping into the afterlife. You could always drink your hornet, as some enjoy the extra kick they provide to alcohol. Live specimens are sometimes drowned in shochu, a clear, distilled beverage somewhere in between liquor and rice wine in terms of strength. In the few moments before their death, quote, the insects let out their venom into the liquid, and it's stored until it turns into a darker shade of amber. Number 4. Their stings hurt a lot. If you see an Asian giant hornet, we've got good news and bad news. The good news is that they don't really actively hunt human targets. However, the bad news is that if they do decide to sting you, you're in for a world of pain. Even beekeeper suits can't stop their stings, which is bad with a capital B. The sting is said to feel a bit like hot metal being injected into your body. Oh, and not to sound like a broken record, but its sting could potentially kill you. Its venom includes a heaping helping of neurotoxins, and if enough of that stuff enters your body, it can kill you. Sure, one sting may not be enough, but enough of them might. And these being hornets, it's worth pointing out that they can sting you multiple times. This is not a theoretical scenario either. Reportedly, murder hornets kill as many as 50 people in Japan every year. Number 3. How can they be dealt with? Now that we're aware of murder hornets being awful for humans and bees alike, what can we, or for that matter, the bees, do about them? Well, quite a lot actually. As mentioned earlier, the WSDA is keeping tabs on the situation, trapping and tracking as sightings emerge. For this purpose, experts urge everyone who sees Asian giant hornets around to steer clear of them, and to be sure to report their sightings instead of attempting to get rid of the invasive pests themselves. This is a fight best left to the professionals. As for the bees, it turns out that some of them have already figured out how to deal with murder hornets. Some bees have actually managed to figure out that they can't match the murder hornet's size and strength, so they employ a sneaky tactic where hundreds of bees swarm the hornet, which is trapped inside a large bee ball. The bees then basically cook the hornet alive by vibrating in unison, which raises the ball's temperature to over 115 degrees Fahrenheit, which the bees can survive, but the hornets, they can't. The tactic takes up to an hour, but it works. Unfortunately, at the moment, only Japanese honeybees seem to know the trick, having developed it over many generations. Here's to hoping that the Western bees don't have to learn it the hard way as well. Number 2. They mark their targets with a scent. When the scouts head out to search for food sources, they secrete a special scent onto honeybee hives, so that their fellow hornets can find it and team up to launch an attack. They are the only known species of wasp to apply a scent to food targets, according to the entomology journal Psyche. Number 1. Their preferred areas. While it's currently unclear how these Asian giant hornets came to North America, the area they've been spotted in makes sense. They prefer to live in low-altitude forests and mountains and build underground nests. You probably won't find these insects in high-altitude areas or open plains. That's the end of today's video. We certainly hope you like it. If you did, leave us a comment down below, give us a thumbs up, and click that bell button so you never miss any of our updates. And as always, thanks for watching.